Hello again and welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today is full deck challenge day and it is time to do card number 12. We are working with the prompts today that are holes and drippy paint. So I actually have done quite a lot of prep for this, which I'll go through in a moment. I had to paint some of it yesterday so that it was ready for today. For those of you that are new, welcome to all the new viewers and welcome to the new subscribers. Thank you very much for subscribing, and thank you to all of my regular viewers for all your lovely comments and for those likes. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are new, you might not know that for the full deck challenge, you've got to carry something forward from week to week. And you've also got to have one constant thing that you use all year on every card. Well, my constant are paint samples. And for this week, I'm going to carry over some heat embossing. I have some heat embossing here where I've put stamped sun rays and then heat embossed white onto the Happy Home yellow paint sample. I'll bring out the things that I've prepped and we'll talk through what we're going to be doing today. I was struggling a little bit with this one, not so much for inspiration, but I was struggling with just getting motivated to clean up and actually do the videoing. So that's probably why I have so much prep done today. What I actually have prepared is I decided I had a bit of a thought when the prompt came out about holes and drippy paint. And I thought, what has holes and drippy paint? And then I got onto food and thought, I know what is drippy and has holes, and it's donuts with dripping icing and a hole in the middle. So I started to fussy cut it out, but I stopped myself. Thought I won't get too far ahead. But yesterday I actually sketched a donut and then I watercolored it and had the dripping paint going down where the dripping icing is. I then decided that I wanted to create a large handmade stamp. So I kind of thought to myself, I like the idea of having a postage stamp, but the size of my card, and using my hole punch to create a faux stamped shape. I also cut down some paint swatches, and you can see that I've layered 3 different paint swatches, and here's the scraps from them. I cut them down. I was going to tear them, but I just thought, no, I didn't want to tear them and for the tearing to detract from the donut. I want the donut to be the hero. So I just wanted this graded look, and for it to be fairly contemporary, a little bit, a bit of a nod to pop art-ish, but not as colourful as pop art. And I found a stamp that has little circles in it, as if they're holes like donuts. So I found that in my stash. It is actually a retired Stampin' Up! Stamp. So I stamped that with Versamark and then put some white heat embossing powder onto it and heat set it. And I did the same for the back and stamped the date on that for today. And you can see that I've dropped some drippy paint on that. I will do that on the face of the card when I'm making it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fussy cut out this donut, and while I'm fussy cutting that out, I'll throw back to a sped up version of yesterday's video where I was sketching the donut and then watercolouring the donut and dripping the paint around. And so I've put that in this video. It's sped up and it's got some music to it. It doesn't go for very long, but it just shows you how I drew the donut and how I watercolored the icing. and then I'll meet you back here in a moment with my donut cut out. Okay, so I've got the basic line work there of my donut sketch, and I've erased some of the darker lines just so that there's not too much of the lead showing. And I'm going to get some watercolors now, and I'm just going to do some watercoloring, and I'll do some drippy paint. I'm using Inktense, the Derwent Inktense blocks, and I'm just stripping a bit of colour, bit of pigment out of the block into my palette here. For those of you that might be looking at my palette, it's a ceramic palette, which is lovely. It is by a company here in Australia called Robert Gordon, and I've had it for quite a few years, and it still looks brand new. And yeah, it's easy to clean, and it's got quite a few sloping dishes in it, and then round ones as well. So I'm just going to dilute this a little bit just to get the color that I want for the donut. What I might do is I might just plot away at watercoloring this, and I'll put the video to a little bit of music for you, and you can either watch me watercolor, or I'll leave the timestamp, and you can jump ahead if you want to look at the timestamp in the description to get to the next bit. So enjoy the music, and I'll see you soon. I'm just letting that drip into that icing, so it's got a bit of movement. Just letting that drip work. I'll swing it around this way as well. The white is pigment is separating a little bit. All right, let's try and drip a little bit of paint into those drips that have been painted. A little bit of dark. See if they run down. Try and get the drips to run down in. So with watercolor, the paint will only go where there has been water, and you'll see that a few of them I didn't do a very good job with keeping the brown separated from the pink. But for some of them you'll see, especially this one here, I've kept a little white line, which works fine for a highlight. But when I drip paint into that, it won't join up because there's a little bit of a white line. You'll see that the water stays moving around without joining up to the brown. And that's because I've left that little white line, but I'm sure lots of you know all about this sort of stuff anyway. Now, I'm not going to colour all of this. I'm going to leave a few little highlights around. So I'm just going to put some colour on and then leave some white space. I'm going to drip a little bit more colour into there. I want that to be nice and dark. Just going to drop a little bit more colour into here and a little bit more colour into here. I want those drips to be nice and dark. I'm just lifting off some of the paint now that I want to soften the edges around the highlights. Oh, that's looking pretty good. A little donut with its drippy paint, with its drippy icing. All right, I'm going to stop playing with it. My paper's starting to warp. I didn't get out my really good watercolor paper for this. I just used a 220 really good quality drawing paper. So it is starting, the paper is starting to reach its maximum with being able to cope with the amount of water I'm using, but I think that looks fine. Okay, I'm back. What I was thinking about was a little bit when I was flicking through some books and that I've got on different eras of art. I kind of was inspired a little bit by pop art, where they use a one item and then make a feature out of it. And I kind of thought to myself, I think it needs some sort of frame. Well, then I started playing with the idea and sketching a few things, maybe doing a frame. And then it popped into my mind to do, because of the holes, to do a postage stamp. And sometimes when you see postage stamps, it still has part of the outside edge on it. What I did was I pulled out my card and I decided that I wanted to use the six of clubs. And there's a reason why I wanted to use the six of clubs. Six, because normally when you buy donuts, you buy half a dozen. Well, when we go shopping for donuts, the grandkids are normally with me, and we usually buy six. I also wanted to pick clubs because I've come up with a name to put on the donut that is related to a club, which I'll show you in a little bit. But to create this frame, what I've done is I basically measured my card and I made it half an inch bigger on each side. So I basically made it 4 inches by 3 inches. Okay, so I've finished punching all of that. And you can see that I've actually cut this one down. I'm going to cut some of the other one down. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the trimmer and I'm just measuring. I know that I put that score line at 1/8 of an inch in. Some of my holes are a little bit off, but that's okay. I'm going to cut through that, and that gives me that nice stamp edge. But what I want to do also is, you can see I've pulled out a few different stamps here. And you can see that these ones have got some of the outside edge pulled off. This one looks nice. It's a bit torn. And so I'm going to not cut it all off. I'm going to have some of it cut off and then some of it left on. So I'm going to just cut through this a little bit and then tear some of it. Yes, I like that. Okay, I'm going to leave this bit on with the holes in it. So I have my backing. Now, as you can see, what I did with this was I cut down my paint swatches, and I just taped them together, cut them down to size, and then like I said, I did the heat embossing. So I'm going to actually put my card in here, and you can see that I've punched out a club. There it is, the club symbol. And that's because I want to show the 6 of clubs on my card. And I'm showing it because I've created the iced donut club. And I'm definitely in the iced donut club. So, and when we're in the iced donut club, we buy 6 donuts. I'm making a stamp, so I decided that my stamp was going to cost 6 cents. The stamp was going to cost 6 cents. I wish the donuts only cost 6 cents, but that's not the case. I'll put some glossy accents on here. I'm not going to cover the whole top of it. I'm not sure whether very many of you have used these glossy accents, but they're lovely in that the light bounces off of it really well. And I'm going to just spoon on some sprinkles. Now these sprinkles come from 2 different packs. I have Shaker Mix from Paper Rose, Licorice All Sorts Shaker Mix, and then I took out this one from Paper Rose, and I just took some white out of it, and it's called Peppermints Shaker Mix. So let's put some out. I actually might be a bit more intentional about what I'm doing with this. I'm going to let that sit and just cure a little bit while we compile this. I better not lose my club. All right, so I'm going to glue this on, but I also want to put some drips on. So you can see that on the back I've put some drips on, like dripping icing, and I did that with some Liquitex acrylic ink. So I'm just going to drip a few drips on this, but I don't want it to be everywhere. It is going to be a controlled drip. I'm just tilting it because I want it to go a particular way. I just wanted a little bit of drippiness in the background. And I'm going to hit that with the heat gun, and I'm going to dry my donut a little bit as well, and I'll be back. Okay, that's dry enough now. So what I'm going to do is glue that on the card, and we'll start putting this together. So do I have some news? I do have news. We only have 1 week until we drive down to New South Wales. We see family first, And then we're going to get on a cruise, which my husband and I cannot wait. So I think that I only have 2 more shifts of work next week. Got some few days off before we go. You can see that the drippy paint is on there. I wanted it to be just a white background. I didn't want to detract from our hero, the donut. Yeah, let's glue the back on first. And I'll have to determine where I can put some holes so we're not punching holes through words and things. And we'll glue the front on. Just cut that down, it's overhanging. Who else out there loves donuts? I love donuts, however I find them a little bit sweet. So I'm not a real sweet person. Like if I had a donut, I would be struggling to eat the whole thing. I'm more likely to get a donut and eat half of it today and then half of it tomorrow. But they never taste as good the next day. So here we go. Here's our donut. This stamp just cost 6 cents. The Iced Donut Club stamp has now been produced. And if you'd like to be part of the Iced Donut Club, leave a comment below. Maybe do a thumbs up. Let's finish the card and glue everything down and then put some holes in. All right, now hopefully I can get this glue to glue down. Just going to smudge it out to the edges because I really want the edges to bite. And it's curling a bit on me. I actually used to do a lot of watercolour in my work when I was doing teaching architectural illustration. Except we would be doing watercolour on buildings, so we would design our buildings and design our interior spaces or our exterior facades, and then we'd have to illustrate it. And so I used to love teaching architectural illustration and perspective drawing and those sorts of things. But those days are done and I no longer do that sort of thing. So let's put the black one in where I want it, right there. And we're going to put a white one here. Oh, this is looking lovely. Okay, let's let this dry. We'll come back, we'll set the eyelet and put some more holes in the card. All right, let's put the eyelet in. I'll just measure it. Okay, I've chosen a black eyelet. Now I'm going to set that. Lovely. And I'm going to put a few holes in. I'm going to put a hole here. Now I need to be careful about the holes on the back because of the date. So we can go here. We can go up from the bottom. Maybe another one here. Oh, I just missed it. That was good planning. Luck. Let's say it was good luck. What do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do one up here. 7. There we go. All right, let's clear the decks and I'll show you the card. Okay, here's our card with drippy paint or dripping icing and holes, and the things that I've carried over are embossed white heat embossing, and I've got my paint swatches as well. And I really like the edge. I think that the inspiration about the stamps and leaving a little bit of that edge on like these stamps, I'm really liking that. And I like that there's a little bit of black on it. It's just giving a tiny bit of contrast. It possibly could do with a line around the outside of it. Let's try it on the back first with a black marker and see whether that looks better. Yes, I think I'll like it with a marker around it. I did muck up that bit a little bit, but that's okay. It's a piece of collage art, and everything doesn't have to be perfect. Says she that measures to where to put an eyelet. Okay, yes, I think I like that. All right, let's have a little close-up of that and see if that, oh yes, that looks great. Okay, so you can see how that little bit of line work around the outside has given it a bit more depth. Hopefully that switched to being in focus. I don't know because I'm sitting down and I can't see, but we'll bring it back down onto the desk, move the board, and we'll add our iced donut club to our pack. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, something a little bit different. Lots of holes, lots of drips. Actually, you can see the holes on the back as well, and I like that there's holes all around the edging. Hopefully you enjoyed that today. So thank you again for tuning in. If you like the video and the card, a thumbs up is always welcome. Thanks again, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.